Hello, my beautiful peoples. Time for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be doing a dress, so stay tuned. Go ahead and like the video, please. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime we post a new video. Pause here, follow us on all our social medias, and let's get started. This is Samantha Marie Designs Breeze Dress. They have the short jumpsuit, a jumpsuit, and a top available as well. I'm using just regular knit fabric, double brush poly, aka DBP. If you're looking for fabric, that's typically how it's acronymed. Okay, so let's get started on what you need. You're gonna need 4 of these pieces, 2 mirrored images of each, right? So 2 for the front, 2 for the back, because there's a middle seam. And then you're going to need 1 of the strap pieces. I'm using the wide piece, so like you'll need to cut 2 of those, and then the neck piece, neck binding piece, you need to cut 2 of those as well. So here's what it looks like all cut. So I have my 4 dress pieces, 2 for the front, 2 for the back. I have my 2 straps. I have the wide ones and the 2 neckband pieces here. So we are going to put because of how I cut it, I'm just going to cut this middle seam here on the dresses. I'm going to sew the middle seam. So basically sewing the fronts and the back together, the middle seam. All right, so I've done that, and then I went ahead and I just used my serger and I top stitched it down just to make it all nice and tidy. Just like this right here. All right. So now we're going to add the neck binding. All right, so this neck binding piece will go just like this. I'm going to go ahead and give my binding strips a pre-press. So you just fold them, fold the middle, and then you fold the pieces towards the middle like this to create a binding strip. All right, and then I did go ahead and find the middle. Of course, my middle seam is going to be the middle of the neckband here. And I match up the middle and give it a good clip here. And then you're going to match up the side, the beginning and the end here, and then you'll give it a good stretch to keep it all nice and tidy. You can put as many clips or as little clips as you want here. Totally personal preference. You can use pins too if you don't like clips. I have a problem with putting pins in my mouth, so I've started to try to transition more to clips so I don't choke on a pin. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my cover stitch here. You can use a sewing machine if you want to, but I'm using my cover stitch and just going ahead and top stitching down this binding strip. All right, and then we're just going to repeat that again with the other one, which I already put on there. Again, just go ahead and make sure that you've got the binding strip on there and you're pulling just a smidge to give it a little bit of ease or give or whatever you want to call it. All right, and next is going to be the straps. You can go ahead and give those a pre-press as well, just as I did the neckband. I just find that a little bit easier. It's personal opinion. All right, so find the middle, and you're going to need about 3 inches in between. So I just went ahead and kind of measured that out and put little dots, and I'm going to clip it on here and clip it on this part here. So I've got 3 inches of space in between the neckband pretty much. So that's going to be where it hangs on the sleeve. You might want to measure your child or the person wearing the outfit just to be sure, but the pattern calls for 3 to 3.5 inches of space in between here. So I just went ahead and clipped those pieces, and then I am clipping again, similar to how I did the neckband. I am clipping the arm side here, and then I'm kind of giving it a little stretch and clipping some more spots. And you're going to repeat this with the other side. And again, I'm just going to use my cover stitch to top stitch it down. If you don't have a cover stitch, you can use a plain old Jane sewing machine. I do recommend you lengthening your straight stitch or using a stretch stitch. That's just my personal advice there. because if you use a straight stitch without any lengthening, it could break when you're pulling, when the person's wearing it, because of the stretch of the sleeve here. So I'm just using my cover stitch to top stitch it down, just making sure that it stays in there. Slow and steady wins the race. I kind of got off of the strap here, which I fixed later off camera. I wasn't using my binding foot, so it kind of wiggled a little more than I wanted it to, but it worked. Maybe I don't fix it off camera. Maybe I do fix it on camera. All right, there we go. We got that one. And as you can see here, I didn't clip that part, so you can see how I kind of just pull it, make sure it's laying flat. Don't overstretch because it will be kind of wonky, but you just want to make sure everything's laying flat. So you'll pull the binding strip to stretch, but you won't really actually stretch the garment, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, now that we've got all that done, we can actually do the side seams. And I'm just going to serge them down. I'm going to start at the arm side here. And go all the way down. Just make sure your pieces are lined up. And then get the other one here. And then of course we are going to tuck our tails. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I love my handy dandy knit picker, and it helps me tuck my tails right here at the arm side. And then you can top stitch this down as well for any sensory issues. That's right under the armpit. I would top stitch that down, and then now we're just gonna hem it, and we are done. So I'm using my cover stitch here. I did just fold it up about 1/4 inch. That's typically my like standard hem. Even if pattern says something differently, I typically just hem it to 1/4 inch. It's just kind of like my specialty, I guess. I'm just now realizing I do that actually. Once you get going with patterns, you kind of get into your own little groove of things, which is the best part about sewing, right? Once you understand everything, you can, put your own little flair on it. So that's the best part. All right, we are done with this thing, and this is what it looks like all complete. I love it. It's perfect summer dress. Blowing in the breeze, perfect for its name here. This is the breeze dress, and here it is blowing in the breeze. Beautiful dress, love it. And then here is my silly daughter dancing in it because she loved it so much. She's grown so much. If you've watched along the journey, she used to be a tiny little baby, and now she's a big girl, 7, about to be the 2nd grade. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week. Bye.